Hi everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a fun card featuring an add-on set from Fawn, part of the How You Bean collection, but it is the stars. And I think these stars are super sweet, and I don't have the bean jar stamp, but I have the stars. And so I want to share a simple card that I created today with you. Let's get started. So here's a look at the supplies that I'll be using. There are more off camera, of course, but here are the basics. The How You Bean Star add-on set. I just think this is an adorable set. It's a smaller set, the price point is great, and it's really all-purpose. Birthday or congratulations, and stars can be, well, they can be used for anything. Love all the little sentiments. And this set also, there is a coordinating die you can purchase to cut out the cluster of stars or the single star. All right, now I'm going to be doing some very simple coloring of my stars today with a single Zig Clean Color pen. This is yellow. And that's another point of today's video, is just to show you how if you want to start trying some of these watercolor markers, they're pretty easy to use and you don't need a ton. I am using some Fawn Everyday Sentiment banners. This is one of my favorite sets. Got some sequins and a square stitched rectangle from Fawn. This is new. I just bought the small stackables of that. I've got some really nice Gina K Designs cardstock. I believe this is Wild Dandelion and in the navy. Some white embossing powder, of course, the Misty tool, because I can't leave home or stamp, you know what I'm trying to say, without it. And a few other supplies as we go. So let's begin in creating the card. One thing I didn't show you was Holtz watercolor cardstock. You know how it has a nubby side and a smooth side? Most of the time when I'm using watercolor cardstock from Holtz, I like the smooth side. I don't know, I just like it. And now I'm going to take my powder bag here, my anti-static bag, and just go all over the surface because I want to get all the oils and all of the debris off of the cardstock, so that when I stamp down my sticky ink, my embossing powder only sticks to the sticky area. If you have any problem with ink and powder not working the way you want, you need a static tool. You need the anti-static powder tool. All right, I'm using my Simon Says Stamp Clear embossing ink. I'm going to hit it once, nice and firm, and again the beauty of the Misty is I'm going to stamp it twice. Because of this cardstock, it's a little thicker, and even though it's the smooth side, I still want to get a really good impression to grab my embossing powder. Now I'm using white Hero Arts embossing powder. Now you can see where I stamp, it starts to show up there magically. And the reason I'm doing this is I like to create a guide for my watercoloring. I'm not really into the no line thing yet, so I've got my embossing powder down. I preheated my embossing tool, and now I'm just going to hit it until that white powder turns shiny and it's kind of puffed up nicely. And this is my panel that I'm going to start coloring. All right, look at that. You can see it. It looks pretty good. Now I'm really going to speed this up because it's a simple process. In each star, I'm going to lay down a little color, and then I'm going to use a Holtz water brush to pull that color out and fill in the star. By doing this, I create sort of a gradation, if you will, like it looks like there's light coming from one side of the star. This is not perfect. I am not a master of shading, but this is a really simple way to use a single marker and kind of stretch it out, you know, get your money's worth, because it looks kind of cool. You lay down a little color, and I'm probably laying down more than I need to, but I wanted there to be a richness to the yellow. And I don't need to blend, I'm just working with one color. So the embossing also makes it so much easier to paint when you have a border that you're working with. So simple coloring, I did speed that up, it actually took me about 8 minutes. Now, I have the coordinating dies, but here's the thing. I'm not always great with die cutting, so I learned this little trick from my friend Gina K from Gina K Designs, and that is to cut out a template from another piece of paper to help you line up perfectly your die, because it will snap right in and you can feel it, and then tape it down, and then you don't mess up. Because I think once you've spent 8 minutes painting something, there's nothing worse than misaligning your dies, and for newbies, That happens to me all the time. But with this template, it allows me to get a perfect cut. Now, I will say this. I would have used a lighter cardstock because a little blue got left over, and it will brush off, but just a lighter cardstock. I'm cutting a stitched panel out of some Neenah Solar White. This is the 110 pound. Sometimes I like my panels to be sturdier, but look at that cute stitching. Oh, I love that set. All right, now sentiment time. I am going to do many congrats because this is going to be a graduation card, and I'm stamping this on some In the Navy cardstock from Gina K Designs. Part of my idea behind this card, my son is graduating from high school, and that means many of his friends are, and their school is the Great River Stars. That was kind of my original inspiration when I saw this stamp set. I'm like, must have stars, you know? And their colors are navy blue and gold. So this is a graduation card. So I'm stamping down the many congrats, and I've powdered it up pretty well. But here's the thing, even though I used all this anti-static, when I stamped it down, look at all the powder. I don't know if I just didn't hit it well enough with the anti-static tool, but what we're gonna do here is just take a brush it off, and then you can even use your craft pick. I learned this from watching a Laura Basson video. You can just take that point in and just pick off any little bit that you need. Now I want to show you something. Swiffer Wet Jet wipes. I buy these at Costco because Jennifer McGuire told me it would be a good thing for cleaning up my craft space. I spilled powder everywhere. I'm still not that good with embossing powder. All right. I'm heat setting my sentiment, and I did notice a couple little spots of powder that I missed. So here's another thing you can do. You can take a blade of any kind. This is just my pen blade, and just scrape them off. Just scrape them off. If you're gentle, you can remove them from the top surface of your paper. Now I'm going to use this Everyday Banner Sentiment die to cut out a perfect sentiment. I just love this sentiment set. Could not recommend this highly enough. I use it all the time. And there is my many congrats. Now I did notice even a little more powder. This dark cardstock can be really tricky, I think, for embossing. So again, just took that blade, cut it right off. Now I've got some Wild Dandelion cardstock here, and I've trimmed it to be 8 by 4 1/4 so that I can score it right at 4 1/4 for a square card. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to take some foam tape and just pop up that stitched panel. And I like to put a little low-tack tape inside my card because I need my card to be flat when I'm putting a panel on top. Otherwise, I can't see it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I always tape them shut, and that helps me quickly align my panels. Now I'm popping up the stars. I've got some thin foam squares, not the thick stuff, because I didn't want it to be too bulky because the panel's already popped up. And now I'm just going to mark a little line. It's kind of hard to see here, but to show me where to quickly trim out the banner, just like pop. All right, now my sentiment banner is cut to size. I put some thin foam squares on the back of the sentiment banner too because I wanted to pop that up. And here's a little trick that I use. I've flipped my card upside down here, but I like to press a piece of cardstock against the edge of the popped up panel because what it helps me do is quickly flush it and align it to the very edge of the cardstock. I only recently started doing this, and I don't know, I am always looking for shortcuts to align things, and that turned out pretty well. So if you ever have trouble lining things up on an edge, give that cardstock trick a try. It's fun. It's really fun. Now, stars are going down and then popping up that separate star. I just think it's cute, you know, a little dimension. Now I'm going to pull out the Wink of Stella. I love this stuff, but I always forget that I have it, and I decided to just go ahead and color it over all of the stars. Now I thought maybe it might react with the watercolor that was already laid down, but it didn't. It just added shimmer. You can't see it on camera at all, but you're going to have to trust me. It shines like the top of the Chrysler building. Okay, I've said that before. It's my go-to. But now I'm going to add just a few sequins to finish out this card. I wish I would have had gold. I have no gold sequins, so that is on my shopping list. But I still think adding a little cluster of 3 at the top and then repeating a little cluster at the bottom does add a little bit of shine and shimmer to the card. And that is the finished card project. But now, what do you do when you have a square card and you think, I wish I had a square envelope? Well, you're in luck. Take your standard A2 envelope, put it in your trimmer, cut 1/2 inch from one side, flip it over, and then cut another 1/2 inch from the other side. So you're cutting off 1 inch in all. I have learned this from the master Gina K of Gina K Designs, and it has changed my life for square cards. Once you've cut it, you're going to open it up, and it's got like these just little leftover pieces. Just tear those right off. You don't need them. Sometimes they fall right out, and sometimes they're just kind of stuck, so just gently pull it up. And now you're going to need a strong adhesive. I use 1/8 of an inch score tape type of product here. You're going to tape that down right on the edge, because now you are creating the new adhesive that will hold your envelope together. I always just tear a little, I never measure it perfectly, and just snip it off. Repeat on the other side, right to the fold there. And now just peel off the backing, and once you've got that off, you can fold your card up, and you have created a pocket and a envelope for your square card. Another thing you can do, I like to round my corners, so I've got this cute little tonic trimmer, works great. Just punch one corner to round and do the second one. I didn't really have it lined up, but no worries, you just replace it in and go ahead and give that a punch. And now I have a more finished looking card with the little rounded panel. And here's how it works. You pop it in. I have done this and mailed these cards, and they have worked great. But this is just for graduation, so I'm not going to worry about extra tape or anything like that. But that is how you can create a lovely matching square envelope for your charming square card. And that's the project for today. I love how this turned out. It is simple. It lets you dabble in a little watercoloring and some die cutting, and in the end, a very simple design to celebrate whatever you think is worth celebrating. Thanks so much for watching my video today. If you like what you saw, please give it a thumbs up, or I would love to have you subscribe to my channel, or both. Thanks again, and have a great day.